40 years of power, one betrayal. The rise and fall of Africa's most iconic lion family. A kingdom is forged in conflict. A dynasty is built on blood. For the most famous family of lions on Earth, survival has always been a battle. They have faced down rivals, stared down death, and for over 40 years commanded a kingdom at the heart of the African wilderness. We have followed their sagas of conquest, loyalty, and heartbreak, giving them names and turning them into global icons. But their fame could not protect them from a single act of betrayal that would push their world to the brink of collapse. To understand how it all went so wrong, we must go back to the very beginning, to a time when this dynasty was just taking its first defiant steps onto the world stage. What's your earliest memory of this incredible lion family? Let us know in the comments below. For over 40 years, the world has been captivated by a single sprawling family of lions in Kenya's Maasai Mara. We have seen their triumphs and their tragedies, their hunts and their heartbreaks, chronicled in intimate detail. We gave them names, turning matriarchs, hunters, and battle-scarred kings into icons, and in return, they gave us an unprecedented look into their savage, sophisticated world. This is the story of the Marsh Pride, a saga of power, loyalty, and profound loss. It is a testament to what is at stake when the wild world clashes with our own. Since they were first documented in the late 1970s, their story has been one of resilience. Yet their global fame could not protect them from the greatest threat of all. A devastating betrayal that would push their dynasty to the edge of annihilation. But before we reveal that ultimate treachery, we must first understand the dynasty that was built and the legendary lions who built it. In the heart of Kenya's Maasai Mara, a vast, sun-drenched landscape of over 1,500 square kilometers, a saga of loyalty, power, and survival has unfolded for decades. It is centered around the most famous family of lions in the world, the Marsh Pride. Their story began to be formally chronicled in 1977 by a young naturalist named Jonathan Scott, who, along with journalist Brian Jackman, would spend years painstakingly documenting their lives. Their observations became the book The Marsh Lions in 1982, a wildlife classic that introduced the world to the Pride's earliest known rulers. This long-term documentation, stretching over more than 4 decades, has transformed them from anonymous animals into a royal family of the natural world. Their lives became a living record of lion society, providing invaluable insight into the complex world of these apex predators. We've watched them navigate the violent politics of their kingdom, where power is fleeting, and every day is a fight for survival. From a peak population of nearly 30 members in the early 2000s, the Marsh Pride's numbers have faced immense pressure. Their struggle is symbolic of a continent-wide crisis. Today, the entire African continent is home to as few as 20,000 lions, a number that has plummeted by over 40% in the last 3 generations. Some estimates suggest the population has declined by as much as 75% in the last 50 years. Lions now occupy just 13% of their historical range. The Marsh Pride, as the public face of their species, carries the weight of this struggle. Their kingdom was a very specific and very valuable piece of land that would become both their greatest fortress and a deadly trap. What do you think makes a territory worth fighting to the death for? Lion society is the most complex of all the big cats. Unlike their solitary cousins, lions are social animals, and the pride is their fortress. At its core is a sisterhood of related females, mothers, daughters, and aunts who form lifelong bonds. They are the primary hunters, the caregivers, and the enduring spirit of the family. They raise their cubs communally in a creche, a shared nursery where all lactating females will suckle any cub, dramatically increasing their chances of survival. This system allows for the seamless transfer of knowledge, specialized hunting techniques, and defensive strategies passed from one generation to the next. The males, often brothers or cousins who form powerful coalitions, have a more transient role in the pride. They are the kings, whose duty is to protect the territory from rival males and secure the pride's boundaries. Their reign, however, is almost always temporary and violent, lasting only as long as their strength holds. A coalition's tenure can be as short as a few months, or in rare cases of extreme dominance, last for several years. This intricate social structure, a stable core of females and a rotating guard of males, is the key to their dominance in the savage kingdom. The original book, The Marsh Lions, introduced the world to the pride's foundational rulers, a powerful coalition of 3 resident males, Scar, Brando, and Makubwa. These were not the anonymous predators of the plains. They were distinct characters who commanded the territory with authority. Together with a core group of related lionesses known as the Marsh Sisters, they established the dynasty that would captivate the world for generations to come. For 5 years, from 1977 to 1982, Jackman and Scott followed these specific lions, recording the intimate details of their lives, their hunts, their territorial disputes, and the raising of their young. Scar, the namesake of a more famous successor, was a majestic and imposing figure, the clear leader of the coalition. His story, along with those of his companions, offered an unprecedented ground-level view into the savage and intricate world of a lion pride, laying the groundwork for decades of observation and turning these lions into the first generation of wildlife superstars. The kingdom of the Marsh Pride is the Musiara Marsh, a lush expanse of wetlands at the northern end of the Maasai Mara National Reserve. For generations, this territory, centered around an intermittent watercourse known as Bila Shaka, a name that means without fail in Swahili, for the guide's certainty of finding lions there, was the pride's stronghold. The marsh's swamps and dense reed beds provide a year-round water source and abundant cover for ambushing prey, making it a near-perfect hunting ground. This strategic paradise has allowed the pride to thrive, at times growing to a formidable size. The constant water supply attracts a steady stream of herbivores, creating a self-replenishing larder for the lions. But this sanctuary is also fraught with danger. The waterlogged terrain, with its deep mud and tangled roots, can trap the unwary, turning a hunt into a potential death sentence. The very same dense cover that conceals hunting lionesses can also hide rivals, nomadic males seeking to conquer a new territory or enemy, prides looking to expand their borders. The pride's dominance here has been constantly tested, not only by rival lion coalitions seeking to claim this prime real estate, but also by the unique challenges of hunting in such a treacherous landscape. The very resources that make the marsh a haven also draw in competitors, including the ever-expanding presence of humans and their livestock, setting the stage for inevitable and tragic conflict. The Mara ecosystem is defined by one of the most spectacular natural events on Earth, the Great Migration. Every year, typically between July and October, over 1 million wildebeest, zebra, and other antelope surge north from Tanzania's Serengeti into the Maasai Mara, chasing the promise of fresh grass and water. For the Marsh Pride, this is a time of incredible abundance. The sheer number of prey animals means hunting becomes easier, and the pride can fatten themselves and their cubs, building strength for the leaner months to come. The dramatic heart of this event is the crossing of the Mara River, a life-or-death gauntlet. The steep, treacherous banks and powerful currents create a chaotic funnel of desperation, leading to trampling and drownings. But the greatest danger lurks beneath the surface. The Mara River is home to some of the largest Nile crocodiles on the continent. These ancient reptiles lie in wait, turning the crossing points into killing fields, exploding from the depths to drag down their victims. For the herds, it is a necessary terror. For the crocodiles, an annual feast. Every crossing is a brutal lesson in survival that defines the untamed spirit of the Mara. In the Mara, lions do not rule unchallenged. They share their kingdom with an ancient rival, the spotted hyena. Far from being mere scavengers, hyenas are incredibly intelligent and formidable predators in their own right, locked in an eternal power struggle with the lions. Organized into large, complex clans led by a dominant matriarch, hyena society is a mirror, image of the lion's own social structure. They are the lion's primary competitors, with hyenas being cited as the most problematic predator by local communities. Hyena clans, which can number up to 100 individuals, will shadow the Marsh Pride, waiting for any sign of weakness. They will brazenly steal kills through sheer force of numbers, mobbing lone lions and even attacking vulnerable cubs. This age-old war shapes the daily life of both species, a constant violent negotiation for food, territory, and dominance in the savage kingdom. The Marsh Pride was catapulted to global stardom by the BBC's groundbreaking series Big Cat Diary. Beginning in 1996, the show brought the daily dramas of the Mara's predators into millions of homes. Presenters like Jonathan Scott, Simon King, and Maasai, guide Jackson Lucia gave the lions names, crafting compelling narratives around their lives. Viewers became deeply invested in the fates of individuals. They watched the reign of the male, coalition led by Simba, who ruled until being driven out in 2004. This unprecedented access and emotional connection made the Marsh Pride a household name and the most recognized lion family on the planet. The show focused heavily on the lionesses, the true heart of the pride. Audiences were introduced to a formidable group of females who became icons. There was the fierce hunter named Red, the stoic matriarch White Eye, so named for being blind in one eye, and her sister Lispy. Together, these lionesses formed an incredible hunting and child-rearing unit. Their coordination and shared knowledge were the glue that held the pride together through constant upheaval. Perhaps the most beloved character was Bibi. Her story was one of immense hardship. Viewers followed her from a harrowing buffalo attack in her cubhood to her eventual exile from the Pride as a young mother. Having conceived out of sync with the other lionesses, she was forced to raise her tiny cubs alone before being accepted back. This emotional journey of an outcast returning to her family resonated with millions and cemented her status as a wildlife superstar. Her death years later would become a symbol of the Pride's greatest tragedy. While the kings came and went in violent succession and endure the constant upheaval of male takeovers, they were the heart of the kingdom. For the lions of the Musiara Marsh, survival means confronting one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, the Cape buffalo. These colossal herbivores, weighing up to a ton, are not easy prey. They are armed with formidable horns and an aggressive disposition. The relationship between lion and buffalo is less predator and prey and more of a perpetual war. Hunting them requires immense coordination, raw power, and generations of honed skill. The lionesses work as a synchronized team. Some act as drivers, using the swampy terrain to their advantage, while others lie in a hidden ambush. They use the sucking mud of the marsh to slow their quarry, leaping onto its back to use their combined weight to bring it down. But the buffalo fight back. They will mob lions, rescue cornered herd members, and will not hesitate to trample or gore a lion or its cubs. A single kick can be fatal, and many lions bear the scars of this ongoing battle. The life of a lion pride is governed by brutal political realities. When a new coalition of males challenges the resident kings, the conflict is absolute. A takeover is a fight to the death, and victory means claiming not just the territory, but the females within it. For the defeated males, the outcome is exile or death. For the pride, it is a period of violent upheaval. The first act of the new kings is often the most ruthless: infanticide. By killing the cubs of their predecessors, the new males eliminate the previous bloodline and trigger the lionesses to come back into estrus more quickly. This allows the new coalition to sire their own offspring and secure their genetic legacy. It is a grim but biologically essential strategy in the constant struggle for dominance. Lionesses will often fight fiercely to protect their young, but they are rarely a match for the size and aggression of the new males. This cycle of violence and renewal is the unforgiving engine of lion society. Before the reign of the Four Musketeers, another legendary male wrote his story in the blood and soil of the Mara: Notch. First appearing in 2003, Notch and a partner known as Lightmail took over the Marsh Pride from the male Simba in 2004, but their joint rule was short-lived. In 2005, his partner was killed by invading males, leaving Notch to defend the Pride and its 8 surviving cubs alone for 2 years. In 2007, he was finally defeated and ousted by a new coalition of males known as the Paradise Males, composed of Romeo and Claude. Many thought he would fade away and die as a nomad, but Notch did the unthinkable. Exiled from his kingdom, he found and joined his own 5 sub-adult sons, an act unheard of for a male lion, who would typically be driven away by his male offspring. For over a year, they vanished, believed dead. But they returned to the Mara as a formidable force, a coalition of a father and his 5 powerful sons, a union built on Notch's own skill and fearsome reputation. This new Notch coalition became one of the most dominant in Mara history, an unstoppable army that turned defeat into the foundation of an empire. The return of Notch and his 5 sons, Notch II, Long, Ron, Caesar, and Grimace, unleashed a reign of terror across the Mara. This coalition, forged in exile, was a force of nature. Together, they conquered a vast territory of over 1,000 square kilometers, dominating numerous prides, including the Paradise, Requero, and Olquiombo prides. Their story was even featured in the 2011 Disney film African Cats. Notch himself, a massive lion weighing an estimated 230 kilograms, grew old and died peacefully of natural causes in 2013, a testament to a king who built a dynasty from the ashes of his own defeat. His sons, however, continued their dominance, but the very power that made them legendary also sowed the seeds of their downfall. The coalition began to fracture. Long vanished in 2010. Later, Grimace disappeared during an excursion into enemy territory, while Ron was killed by rival males in 2016. The last of the sons, Caesar and Notch II, carried the legacy, but the great empire slowly dissolved, a brutal reminder that even the strongest dynasties eventually crumble. Between the era of Notch and the rise of the Four Musketeers, the Marsh Pride was ruled by a powerful but transitional coalition. In 2007, 3 formidable males, Romeo, Claude, and a third known as Pavarotti, wrested control from the lone king, Notch. Their initial takeover was brutal. They had previously killed Notch's coalition partner, Light Male, before vanishing and returning for the throne. This trio, sometimes called the Paradise Males, brought a new dynamic to the Pride. However, their unity was short-lived. Pavarotti disappeared in late 2009, leaving Romeo and Claude to rule as a duo. For 5 years, they held the territory, fending off at least 2 attempts by Notch and his sons to reclaim their old kingdom. Their reign, ultimately, ended in 2012, when they were violently deposed by the 4 young brothers who would become known as the Musketeers. As the era of Romeo and Claude waned, a new force emerged. Toward the end of 2011, a formidable coalition of 4 brothers appeared, drawn to the heart of the Marsh Pride's territory. In 2012, they seized control. They would become known as the 4 Musketeers: Hunter, Morani, Scipio, and the lion who would become the most famous of all, Scarface. United by blood, they were an unstoppable unit, described as being full of swagger and aggression. Their takeover was swift and brutal, deposing the previous males, Romeo and Claude. For years, this brotherhood ruled a vast territory, bringing a period of stability and siring countless cubs. Hunter was a powerful, imposing force. Morani, calm and majestic. Scipio, a fearless warrior. But it was the 4th brother whose battle wounds would turn him into a global icon. Perhaps no lion is more legendary than Scarface, the scarred king of the Mara. Born in 2008, he earned his name in 2012 during a territorial raid with his brothers to take over the Marsh Pride. A claw from a rival struck deep over his right eye, leaving a wound that never fully healed and became his crown. That iconic scar transformed him into the most recognizable and photographed lion in Africa. The scarred king's impressive size, magnificent dark mane, and battle-worn appearance made him a figure of awe and respect. For nearly a decade, his coalition ruled, an incredibly long and successful reign. He was a true survivor, having also endured a spear wound from a Maasai warrior protecting his cattle. But time catches up to all kings. His brothers vanished or died, leaving him and Morani as the last of the Musketeers. The scarred king himself grew old, gaunt, and weak. On June 11, 2021, at the age of 14, the legendary warrior made a final 25-kilometer trek back to his birth territory. There, he died peacefully of natural causes, a rare and dignified end for a lion who lived his entire life wild and free. In the first week of December 2015, the Marsh Pride suffered a devastating blow that sent shockwaves across the globe. On the night of December 5th, lions from the Pride killed several cattle that had been grazed illegally inside the reserve. In an act of swift and brutal retaliation, herders laced the cow's carcass with a highly toxic and banned pesticide, carbofuran, knowing the lions would return to feed. The results were catastrophic. Rangers and conservationists arrived to a horrific scene of lions convulsing, panting, and foaming at the mouth. In total, 8 lions were affected by the poison. Despite frantic efforts by veterinary teams, 3 lions died. The victims included the Pride's beloved 17-year-old matriarch, Bibi, a star of Big Cat Diary, a lioness named Sienna, whose carcass was mauled by hyenas, and a young male named Alan. The poison also killed dozens of vultures and other scavengers, a silent massacre that spread through the ecosystem. 2 herdsmen were arrested and charged in connection with the incident. The tragedy became a grim turning point in the Pride's history, highlighting the escalating conflict between humans and wildlife in the Mara. The poison used, carbofuran, is one of the most toxic insecticides in the world. Marketed as Furadan, it is a tasteless and odorless neurotoxin, making it a perfect weapon for retaliatory attacks. A quarter of a teaspoon can be fatal to a human, and a single grain can kill a bird. Though banned in the United States and Europe, and technically removed from the market in Kenya, it is still available throughout other parts of East Africa, where a small amount can be purchased for less than $2, enough to kill dozens of lions and hyenas. Its use has led to the death of at least 76 lions in Kenya, and has been linked to the disappearance of vultures from the skies. The 2015 attack was not just a tragedy, but a crime committed with a cheap, accessible, and devastatingly effective weapon. The 2015 poisoning was more than just the loss of individual lions. It was an event that shattered the Pride's social structure. The death of a seasoned matriarch like Bibi, aged 17, and a prime lioness and hunter like Sienna, left a massive void in leadership and hunting capability. The trauma and loss of key members' dynasties, narrated by Sir David Attenborough. This episode combined archival footage with 2 years of new, intimate filming to tell the epic saga of the Pride dynasties, which documented a harrowing period after the Pride's adult males had abandoned them. The series showed Charm leading her splintered family after being pushed to the fringes of their territory, including threats from hyenas, rival lions, and the encroaching human world. A few months after filming ended, a rival Pride led by 6 males moved into Charm's territory, threat of hyenas and rival males. Although Charm has not been seen for some time, recent sightings confirm Yaya is still leading this group, and prey animals are scattered and displaced. The 2024 floods were so severe that at least a dozen tourist camps were destroyed, and over 90 people were evacuated by helicopter. Wildlife was also heavily impacted, with dramatic footage showing animals struggling against the raging torrents and an unknown number perishing. For a Pride already weakened and fragmented, drowning the youngest members and pushing the survivors into unfamiliar and hostile territories as they flee the rising waters. It's a stark reminder that in this kingdom, a mixture of deep cultural respect and life-or-death conflict. For a Maasai warrior, killing a lion was traditionally a celebrated rite of passage, a definitive proof of bravery known as olamayo. Lions are admired for their courage and strength, yet also pose a direct threat to livestock, which are central to the Maasai economy and culture. Into lion protectors. Instead of gaining status by killing a lion, a young warrior now earns prestige a salary, and respect by becoming a guardian, treat injured animals, and work with communities. The global fame that made the Marsh Pride a household name is a double-edged sword. On one hand, tourism revenue is essential for conservation in the Maasai Mara. The celebrity of the Pride draws visitors from around the world, and their fees help fund the patrols and veterinary services that protect them. However, this fame comes at a cost. The proliferation of tourist camps and lodges, often clustered in the prime riverine habitats crucial for lions, can lead to habitat degradation and displacement. Studies have confirmed that high tourist density and vehicle congestion at sightings can disrupt hunting behavior and create long-term stress. Research shows the highest lion densities are found in areas with no tourist camps, and that as camp density increases, the number of lions in area can support drops sharply. In fact, vehicle traffic and camp infrastructure have contributed to the degradation of the vegetation around Bila Shaka, the Pride's ancestral heartland, destroying the very cover lions need. While tourism is a vital conservation tool, its infrastructure, if poorly planned, can inadvertently harm the very animals it is meant to protect, adding another layer of pressure on this beleaguered population. The decline of the Great Pride has created a dangerous imbalance in the ecosystem. With fewer lions to challenge them, hyena populations have increased markedly. Hyenas are now rated by the local Maasai as the most problematic predator. Some clans now number up to 100 individuals. This puts immense pressure on the remaining lion cubs, who are far more vulnerable to predation, especially with the loss of the dense thickets that once served as secure den sites due to flooding and habitat degradation. The rise of the hyena clans is a direct consequence of the lion's fall, a shift in power that further jeopardizes the Marsh Pride's future. After the era of legends like Charm and Scarface, the Marsh Pride faces a precarious future. The once mighty dynasty, which boasted 29 members at its peak, has been reduced to a fraction of that size. Today, the Pride consists of a small exiled group, possibly numbering between 11 and 14 lions, led by Charm's courageous daughter, Yaya. They have been completely forced out of their ancestral heartland in the Musiara Marsh due to a lack of prey and intense, ongoing pressure from illegal cattle grazing. They are now refugees trying to survive in the neighboring Leopard Gorge Conservancy, a territory that is not their own. The future of the entire dynasty rests on the shoulders of this small, displaced family. Their fight for survival is a daily struggle, a testament to the resilience of their bloodline, but also a stark symbol of the immense challenges they face. The Marsh Pride fascinates us because their story mirrors our own epic dramas of family, resilience, and betrayal. We have watched them as named individuals, charting their births, triumphs, and deaths for over 40 years. This long-term emotional connection has transformed them from anonymous animals into a royal family of the natural world, their kingdom the Musiara Marsh, their struggles a reflection of a wild world under siege. But for all their fame, their celebrity could not shield them from a final, devastating betrayal. In December 2015, in retaliation for lost cattle, a cow carcass was laced with the deadly pesticide carbofuran and left for the Pride to find. This single act of vengeance was devastating. 8 lions suffered from the poison, and 3 died, including the iconic 17-year-old matriarch Bibi, a lioness millions had watched grow from a cub. For the global audience that had watched these lions live, hunt, and raise their families, the poisoning was a profound betrayal and a brutal reminder that even legends can be brought to the edge of destruction. Addressing these threats requires a dedicated, multi-pronged strategy. Mitigating human-lion conflict by fostering coexistence is the most critical front in this battle. Community-led conservation initiatives like the Lion Guardians, better livestock protection like predator-proof bomas, and the innovative conservancy model that provides direct financial benefits to landowners are vital tools to reduce retaliatory killings. Ultimately, the survival of these lions is tied to the health of the entire Maasai Mara ecosystem. From a thriving dynasty of nearly 30, the Marsh Pride is now scattered and diminished, their hold on their ancestral territory more fragile than ever. They remain a powerful symbol of the untamed African wilderness, and a stark reminder of what's at stake if we fail to protect these magnificent creatures and the kingdom they command. To ensure you don't miss our next journey into the Savage Kingdom, be sure to like and subscribe. And to support the organizations working on the front lines to protect these magnificent animals, check out the links in the description below.